Hey everybody, Lord Magicus, and today we're going to play Merfolk in Modern. So originally I was going to play Historic today, because again I kept pushing it back because I wanted to wait for the companion role to get updated in Historic, but apparently the Arena team has announced that they are going to move it to tomorrow because out of respect for a Day of Remembrance, if I recall correctly. So we are going to have to wait in Historic until the next video, but that's fine. MTGO updated yesterday, so you know what? Let's take the chance and let's play some Modern. Why not? It's been a while since we've done this. So, let's get this shilly stuff out of the way. If you enjoy my content, please give it a thumbs up. You know what? Or even a thumbs down. If you don't like it, do that too. I don't care. Either way, just let me know. I'm always interested in feedback. So, whatever makes you happiest, click that button. Yeah, and while you're clicking buttons, feel free to subscribe to this channel. You can get more of this content from, I do it usually twice a week, unless there are some extenuating circumstances. And leave some comments. I read all of them. They mean a lot to me, and I try to interact with everybody as best I can. Also in the description, the playmats that I just released are available on Inked Gaming, so if you find Merfolk in paint, or the Luchador of Atlantis, or even just like the channel logo one interesting to you, feel free to go and get them. And if you send me pictures of you using them, I will gladly show them off on this channel if you'd so choose. So yeah, I'm always super interested in that. So thanks everybody who supports with just and anything and everything. Like I said, I do this all for you guys. So like I said, leave me feedback. I am always super curious to hear what you have to say. So, I guess more business. I am actually finally getting out of shutdown in my state, so I have to go back to work next week. So I don't know if that's going to affect the schedule, because I'm going to be on a slightly modified work schedule because again, it's due to COVID concerns, but I don't know, we'll see. I'm going to try to continue to keep the same Monday, Thursday schedule as I've done before, so hopefully that'll work out fine. But if there's ever any issue with that, I always try to post it on Twitter, so if you don't see something and you're expecting to, look at Twitter, follow me on there, at Lord Magicus. I post updates on this stuff if something is late or whatever the case may be. So, with that out of the way, let's look at this. So we are going to play Simic today in Modern, coming off of our 5-0 in Pioneer. So we go back to Modern with the classic Simic list. And if you notice something, we have Lurrus in the sideboard. Like, you might look at this and say, well, why the hell are you playing Lurrus in this deck? Like, you could literally only cast it if you put both Cavern of Souls on, like, Cat. Well, we're not going to do that, okay? The change to the companion rule makes it so you have to pay 3 of any color mana to put it into play, and if you do that, it goes to your hand. And you know what we can do with things that are in our hand? We can use Aether Vial. We can take the Aether Vial up to 3 and just put Lurrus into play with the Vial. And the thing is, Lurrus is only something we want to do kind of in the late grindy game anyway, and by that point, Vial is usually not even worth very much, so taking a Vial up to 3 is not that big a deal. We can gladly trade Vial for Lurrus in the late game, and then use Lurrus to just start recasting stuff out of the graveyard to grind out value that way. So, seems perfectly fine to me. Why not? I think that, end game plan is worth 1 sideboard slot, in my opinion. The deck building cost is already super low for us to do that anyway. Like, kind of like Burn, like, it's almost a free include for us. The only spell that we were even playing in our deck to begin with, like, that we can't main deck now is Brazen Borrower, which I have over here in the sideboard, and I'll talk about that in a second. So, if you notice though, like, our curve already stops at 2 for this, so yeah, like, there's almost no reason not to even do this. I feel like this is definitely worth like 1 sideboard slot to occasionally just be an 8th or even 9th card in our hand. We vial it in, we get to bring stuff back from the yard. That's fine. That'll help us grind out games that way. And because our curve only like stops at 2, I'm only going to play 19 lands. I don't think that we need to play more than that for this. Like, we don't really need to flood out very much, and once we get like Vial in 2, like, we're not even using our mana very much. Like, a lot of times we're just going to throw Groves away looking for cards, so sure, that's fine. And if we ever, you know, get to 3 mana, we can just take Lurrus out and then try to tick Vial up to 3 for it. So, I mean, we can mitigate Flood pretty well, I think. But we don't really want to draw more than like 2 to 3 lands most of the time. We're perfectly fine just, you know, deploying Vial and then just vialing in a creature plus like casting a creature with 2 mana. That's kind of how we want to be. So I think 19's fine. I'm not going to play Mutavaults because like colorless mana, I mean we could, I guess, but I don't want to overdo it on colorless. I think we already have 4 Waterlogged Groves, and with only 19 lands, like I don't feel like it's absolutely necessary. I'm not going to play any fetches in this list either. I think I'm going to just try playing a playset of Breeding Pools and see if that helps our life total situation more. Okay, so let's think about this. On turn 1, if you have like a fetch land and an island in your hand, you'd normally have to go like fetch for Breeding Pool, you know, shock yourself, and then play island in turn 2. Whereas if you have like Breeding Pool and island, that's much better, right? Okay, so let's also think about the scenario in which you have like 2 fetches. Okay, well you still probably have to fetch shock for a Breeding Pool, so that's 3. And then you have to fetch for at least a basic island anyway, so you're taking 4 damage off of 2 fetches, and like you're still only taking 4 damage off 2 Breeding Pools. But in the scenario where you have Breeding Pool and island, you're only going to lose 2 life. So I think in a lot of scenarios, just like having the shock lands is probably better on life loss than the fetches are. The only thing that it might hurt slightly with is that we'll have less basic lands in the face of a Blood Moon. We have 5 snow-covered islands, so like we're not like stone dead to Blood Moon by any means. We do have Aether Vial to help play around it a little bit, and maybe even like Force or Dismember to help us play through it. But I mean, yeah, we sacrifice a little bit versus Blood Moon specifically in order to try to save our life total a little bit with the Breeding Pool, so we'll see how that goes. So yeah, I moved the Brazen Borrower out of the main deck, and I decided to put the Spreading Seas in the main. And originally, I was going to leave the 2 Seas in the sideboard and play Repeals here, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized a lot of the times, what do we want Repeal for? Like, if we're worried about stuff like Ensnaring Bridge, a lot of the times we want to bring in things like Collector Oof anyway, and we're going to take out Aether Vial. Well, if we're taking out Aether Vial, then it's going to make it harder to try to Vial Lurrus in at some point. So why don't we just bring in Brazen Borrower at that point and just not even worry about trying to deal with the Lurrus shenanigans in those matches? So yeah, I think that we can just sideboard in Brazen Borrower and just turn this off, like Lurrus off, if we're worried about stuff like Bridge. Or even stuff like, you know, Infect, where we want a bounce effect on their creatures. It's like, we're not going into a super late game where we're going to be tapping out and getting Lurrus into hand. Like, that's just not happening. So, yeah, I think that in a lot of scenarios, you know, where we really need the bounce effect, it's not that big a deal, because either the games are not going to go that long, or, like, they're going to be, like, pretty quick games, or it's matches where Vial is not really that great and we want to side them out. Like, even, like, Jund, for instance, we don't usually keep like all the Vials against Jund, so bringing in Borrower in place of 2 Vials is perfectly fine. I mean, Lurrus would be kind of nice against them, but a lot of times just bouncing like Tarmogoyf and being able to attack for victory is probably just better. Or, you know, Brazen Borrower like bouncing pretty much any, like even like Dark Confidant or something. Just the tempo swing is great, and then having a 3/1 flyer attached to it is fine. So I don't know if we need to necessarily worry about it there. So, yeah, it's just, I think we can live without the main deck bounce effect. And if we really need it, we can bring it in, and we haven't answered. So, I'm fine with that. Otherwise, in the sideboard here, 2 Relics. Like, the Relics are, I think, good against, like, the Uro decks. Bring them in against Jund and Dredge. The Cages are good against Dredge. And also the Neoform deck, if we see that. We might also bring them in against the Vizier deck, right? Because the Turbo Vizier deck does play Postmortem Lunge, and I think it has stuff like Court of Calling stuff like that. So it can interact with them. So I don't know, maybe I haven't played that matchup very much, so I'm not sure how good this is. But I have to imagine it does something. So Damping Sphere, something we can bring in against Tron and Amulet. Chalice, another card that we can bring this in against like the Prowess deck. In fact, can bring in 2 against Amulet to put it on 0. What's the other one? Yeah, there's one other match I was specifically thinking. Oh, Neoform. Yeah, putting Chalice on 0 against Neoform is usually helpful at slowing them down because it turns off like Pact of Negation. It turns off Summoner's Pact for them. Even if you put it on 1 sometimes, like turning off Veil of Summer is probably okay because then it means your force is like very likely to resolve. Deprived is like a generally useful counterspell if you're going up against like Tron or blue-white, or I guess maybe like RO control or something like that. I don't know if the Miracles deck is still a thing at the moment, but I don't know. Just countering like Planeswalkers and stuff with Deprive is fine. Even against like Burn, like we still probably need counterspells against them. Just a generically useful card, and Collector Oath. So if we go up against Urza or Tron, this is okay. But also the Hardened Scales Affinity deck, I think I've seen some results for that coming back. So that is a very hard matchup for us to win without like a super hate card like this. So I really want to have something of this sort against that deck if we ever go up against it. So I think this is fine. I think all of our sideboard cards are generically useful enough. They have enough cross coverage with each other where we can easily side out like 4 cards and just bring in like 2 and 2 of something. So this is kind of how I like to build my sideboards, and generally like I know some people prefer to like they like the hammer of I want like 4 relics and like 4 chalices and like 4 of this and like 3 of this. You can do that. That certainly it makes sideboarding probably easier in a lot of cases, but I prefer to have a little bit more flexibility with this. Alright, but we'll run it like this and see how it is. I think it's perfectly fine like this, so let's go take it into a league and see how we do. Alright, where are we at here? Modern. Let me make sure that this is the right one. I think that should be correct. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay. Let's go. Oh wow, found a match right away. Alright, excellent. Good. No waiting this time. Oh. Oops. Okay. So, let's see. Hypnotical on the play. Let's reveal our Lurrus. This might also throw them off as to what we're doing too, because alright, so we are up against another Lurrus deck. So this might be like Jund, but could also be Burn too. I think our hand is perfectly fine. We're gonna keep this. Island. Slippery Boggle. Oh, well, that's not great. Okay, so I guess what are the chances that we're blocking this thing? Probably not very great, right? I guess I'm gonna shock here. We'll have our 2/2 Kamena Speaker. So, played Island, so this is probably a Bant version of this deck. So what the hell is the blue for? Maybe they have an Invisible Stalker in their list. So I'm probably just like throwing Silvergill into a force on something. Yeah, let's not do that. They're not going to attack here, which is fine. Well, we have to kind of dodge them for another turn here, but alright, let's... I'll put the shields down. We need to, like, get this on the board, and we can hold up force next turn. Okay, well they didn't shock themselves. That's probably a good sign. Means like no rankers or anything. Oh, wait, do they just not have anything? Yes! Okay, excellent. Force is definitely good in this matchup because if they can't stick anything on their Boggle, then they're definitely in trouble. And we've got 5 power in play, which is going to be able to beat them pretty quickly, I think. So here we can just counter something important, so they might have mulliganed in the hope that that one aura was going to be enough here. So they put Lurrus in their hand. Okay. You may as well attack because you're not. I guess they have to be concerned if we have Merfolk Trickster, they're going to get blown out. So they may not want to attack actually. So I'm going to pause here. I'm just going to make them think that. All right. So I'm not going to. I want them to think like I want them to have the fear of Thassa in them. So. They're probably going to play Lurrus next turn. Lurrus isn't going to do very much. I don't need to pay 2 for this. So I guess if we draw like a Lord of Atlantis, we'll win. So they can play Lurrus, but Lurrus by itself is not good enough. Like, we just need to draw like a Lord and then they're dead. Sure. I guess like a Dismember would also be fine. Okay, that's also fine. Like, a Lord still kills them. Looks like they're flooding out pretty hard. They don't really have anything in. Because we have Force of Negation, we're going to... Alright, so they feel safe here, so I don't need... This is meaningless. Alright. So, I don't really want to attack here at the moment. I mean, I guess I could, though, right? See, if I attack with these, they can block the Mistbinder, then they'll stay at 5 life, but Lurrus is going to be off the board. If I attack with both, they do have to attack. They could just throw away this to, like, chump block. Right, and then they see, the only thing I'm worried about is if they find, well, if they try to load up on Lurrus or to get with like ethereal armor or something like that, it's gonna make it very hard to block. I guess I'm fine if they want to trade off Lurrus here. Alright, I'll attack. I'll force them to block something. Okay, that's okay. So they stay at 5, but at least that's off the board. And they still can't really resolve anything important because we still have Force up. So I think we're fine. You know what? That I guess it didn't really help us to we could put Lurrus in our hand, but I don't think that's going to make a difference, actually. Interesting. They have 1 card left in hand. Does this rancor actually matter? I don't know if it actually does. I think that it's fine because I don't think they're attacking with it, and I think if we just find an Island Walk Lord, they're still in trouble. I'd rather hold up this Force for something important like ethereal armor or like a lifelink card because that's what's really going to change. I don't think this is going to change very much. So they have Force in their deck. That's surprising. Yeah, attacking doesn't seem like it's going to be very good. I think it's probably... Yeah, they can attack for 1. That's fine. Like, we have time to draw something. I mean, that's something. Alright. Well, we already played a land, so I guess... we just pass? Come on, deck. We need to stop flooding out. Actually, you know what? I will put Lurrus in my hand. I may as well use the... You know what? No. I'm not going to put Lurrus in my hand because I want a hard cast Force if possible. I don't want to lose the Silvergill Adept if I don't need to. That's actually extremely dangerous for them. I think every point of life in their part matters right now. Absolutely haram. So we do actually have to find something like right now. So I don't think their attacks are good. That definitely is something. So I guess I can just attack with the speaker here. You know what? Does it matter? I guess I could shock myself first. It's probably fine. Because that, yeah, I want them to be sure that they're gonna block with this thing. Yeah. So they only have 1 blocker for next turn, so they have to find something right now or they're dead. Alright, what did you find? Rancor is not good enough. Okay. Conceded. We beat Bogles! Alright, cool. We didn't even need Lurrus. So this is definitely one of those matchups where Brazen Borrower is definitely better than having access to Lurrus. The Dismember is pretty useless most of the time. Spreading Seas is also probably not very good. Chalice is great. Deprive is probably fine. They do have Lurrus of their own, so maybe I do want to keep in some Dismembers. Could also have something like Core Spirit Dancer, so I guess that's another reason. Is there another card I'd want to take out instead? They have Force, which is kind of annoying. Maybe it's just... Well, on the draw, like, what are the chances we're holding up Deprive for Lurrus? Probably not great. I don't really want to cut the creatures here because I think that's probably our best chance of winning. Maybe on the play, Deprive will be a little bit better. I don't know. It depends. I don't know if they have Core Spirit Dancers or not. Like, that's... Because that definitely is a reason to keep Dismember. And also if they have... This is really close because we have Chalice and we have Force. If we're on the draw, so if we hit a land in the first 2 turns, I think this is actually a very good hand. They're keeping 7 cards. We have something to do on turn 1. This is close enough where I think I'm willing to risk this. This is definitely a risk. So, by all means, like this is not something you make a habit of doing, but we're not like super dead to this. At least we have a pretty good chance. All right, see, excellent. That's gonna help. So let's play Cavern on Merfolk. And we will play Commander Speaker. Then next turn we can play Island, attack for 2. And we can even have Chalice up if we need. Probably pitching the Brazen Borrower to force. I really don't want that to be... you know what? No, that's actually fine because we can bounce it with the Brazen Borrower. Sure. If we can stick the Chalice, like, that's okay. Oh, okay. +1/+1 in flying. That's a little bit harder to do. So I think maybe I pitch the Biomancer because I want to get Force out of their hand. So that this, oh no, they don't have Force right now. But okay, but you know what? This is fine. I don't want them to resolve more 1-drops that we can't deal with. So if I want to put Chalice in play so that then I can just, you know, slam it on 1 and hopefully that'll be fine. That's good. Alright. Hopefully they don't have Force of Negation. And Petty Theft on... Okay, that's great. Now we can Petty Theft the armor at any point that we need to. Fuck, that's bad. It's not the end of the world, though, because again, we can still bounce the armor. I think we're going to hold back here. I think we're just going to attempt a Petty Theft on their turn. I could do it in the upkeep, but I want to wait and see. I want to see if they're going to try to like tap out for something. Well, that's horrifying. Yeah, I guess that's going to happen. That's going to make that also a lot harder. We don't have Force to deal with that. Fuck. Alright, so they just had a handful of 2-drops to put on it. That sucks. Well, I can't really block this right now. I don't have a good plan for this. Damn it. Well, we had Chalice, but their hand just like played around this perfectly. Alright, how do we do this? I guess we only get like one more turn, so we have to put enough power in front of this thing to slow it down. So I guess if we put Silvergill here, maybe we could either draw a land or a 1-drop, so next turn we can play double Lords. So I don't think we're erasing them right now. Well, that's not helping. We're very close to dying, I think. I'm just trying to think. If we put 2 Lords in play, that's 6. I think I have to take one more hit off of this thing at least. So I can try to, like, hopefully put a creature into play. Right. If I can like draw a land, put 2 creatures into play, I can chump block next turn. And then just try to build up a board that's big enough to kill this thing. Well, I mean, that technically does it. So right now, I think we're going to throw Silvergill under the bus, so let's attack with the Kamina Speaker. Right, because if we block with everything, they can just kill off this with first strike. Yeah, so we have to like chump block one turn here. I need this other Lord of Atlantis in play. If I can draw like another Kamina Speaker next turn, that would help. Now, if we're lucky, they've just drawn like all 1-drops, so... It's just all nonsense they can't play. I'm kind of surprised they haven't put Lurrus in their hand yet. Well, unfortunately, I can't cast this just yet. So what happens here? If I play Lord of Atlantis, they can kill off one Lord, but they can't actually kill off enough stuff, right? So I think this works. Can play Lord, then I can block with everything, so their first strike can kill off a Lord, so then this will be 3/3. Yeah, I think this will be fine. Actually, can I attack with Kamina Speaker? That's a good question. I'm trying to think. If this thing does get bigger... Alright, if it gets bigger, we're kind of in trouble anyway, right? Could attack with the Mistbinder. Keep these back. Then one Lord of Atlantis is going to die. This will be 3 and 4. I guess we kind of just have to hope that things don't go wrong. I think this is a safe attack, though. We're not worried about like Path to Exile because of Chalice right now. We're just worried about this thing getting bigger because it has first strike. So I think if it gets like any bigger, like if they find like another Daybreak Coronet, we're probably gonna die anyway. I want to keep this game somewhat winnable. I'll crack Waterlogged Grove to try to draw a card this turn. Interesting. Okay, well, I think that was a win for us. Here's the thing, if they play Lurrus, Trickster can interact with... Okay, that was great. The game wasn't over though, right? Well, you could have just cast Lurrus, right, and still gotten like Daybreak or like these things back. But alright, well, we beat Bogles at 1 life. That's a good way to start off the match. So there was some very tense moments during that game, but we just kind of played to some outs and we managed to get there. I think the opponent screwed up though. They should have been looking at Lurrus the whole time. Like there were so many turns they passed and they did not put it in their hands in order to be able to cast it. Like there's nothing stopping them from doing that. So I don't know. All right, we'll take it. It's fine. A free win's a free win. So let's see. We are on the draw versus RG Sideways. Huh. Interesting. We have... This hand's okay. I mean, I think we're going to keep this. So we can, like, play Vile into Kamina Speaker. Okay. So snow-covered plains, so what are we up to here? Oops. Dismember? Okay. That's fine. They're probably not expecting Island Vial off of Lurrus. Mana Tithe! Ooh, fuck. Wow. That is some tech right there. The techiest of tech. So, like, is this... Okay, so it looks like we might be up against, like, a Stoneblade deck. Maybe, like, these Tricksters and this Dismember are going to be important. Sword of Fire and Ice, so, yeah, that's less than ideal. Okay, well, we can just pass here. We have Trickster at any given point, so I can play it on their turn. And then play Dismember plus Trickster next turn. So it looks like they're probably just going to use Stoneforge to put the sword in play. Yep. So we have a battle ahead of us. This sword is... Oh, they have the Batter Skull in hand. Ew, that's scary. Okay, well... If that was the case, maybe you should have waited until I targeted this and then put it in play, because right now I'm just going to target the Germ token. That's actually pretty good here too. So I think I can use this turn to get the Mistbinder out, and then next turn I can hold up Speaker, Kamena. Yeah. So probably Dismember the Germ token. Yep. So they're good. So I'll wait for them to equip it. This should slow them down by a fair bit. I tried. You've got the tech, I've got the tech. Okay, Spreading Seas that might be relevantly. You know what? Okay, so this is a good point. I might want to Spreading Seas this Ghost Quarter because it might give us Island Walk in the future. They probably are going to tap out again, right? To try to do something here. If they play like land, they can go like return Batterskull and then Stoneforge back in, or yeah, it's going to be hard to get the C's on this thing. I really want to play the Kamena Speaker right now, but I think it might be worth holding this up at the moment. So probably need to Trickster something down one more time. So I think I'm going to do this. It's a pretty good draw. So we can do that next turn. Play this, I'll pass. I'll wait, again, I'm going to wait for them to use their mana to try to equip the sword. Could have another Mana Tithe, that's possible. Yep. Okay, so at least it's not going to attack us this turn, and it gives us time to get our Mistbinder in play, and we can also attack for a fair bit. Okay, Bird is fine. So I think if we draw a Lord of Atlantis, we probably win here. That's not terrible either. So let's just play Mistbinder. So So they do have to block with the bird or they're dead. And hopefully that even after they attack with the Batterskull once, it'll be not enough. Okay, they have Path. Alright, well that sucks. Okay. Alright, so we're kind of going all in here. So Stoneforge can attack for 7 with Vigilance here. That's kind of scary. And they're gonna get, if they have they can just tap everything, give Stoneforge the Batterskull. I was really hoping that the bird was gonna die. The Mistbinder is going to die here. They're gonna go to 11. We don't have a good way of dealing with this now. Yeah, definitely that. The only good news is that we can throw the Kamena Speaker in front of this thing. I guess we want to draw Lord of Atlantis right now. Alright, let's adapt Benthic. Well, that was pretty terrible. So this thing has protection from everything except Kamena Speaker, so unfortunately this is what we have to play. And we can't attack, so we just have to pass. So if they have another path, they can hit the Kamena Speaker and we're dead. And this is looking pretty bad, though. I don't think we can come back at this point. We needed something last turn. Like, this is just too late here. Because now they have, like, all of this nonsense and there's no way to beat it. Alright, come on, find us something. Alright, that's not nothing. We're dead to this next turn, so... Alright, so this is definitely going to be a match where I think Brazen Borrower is going to be worth more than the occasional Lurrus, so we're going to bring in Borrower. We're also going to bring in Collector Oath, and I think Deprive is also reasonable here. So what is not that great? Honestly, Force of Negation versus this deck is usually not very good. Spreading Seas is fine. I think we can take out, like... We brought in Collector Oath, right? So taking out Vial is okay. It's also a Path to Exile deck, so maybe we leave in a Vial, we can take out 1 land instead. Yeah, I think if we had drawn like an Island Walk Lord, I think there was a much better chance that we could have gotten there, but no, the path was too much. Like, that let them just like go crazy. This hand is fine, we're gonna keep it. So we'll play Breeding Pool and then probably Silvergill Adept first. Mold to 6, okay, that's good. So I really want to find, like, you know, some of our sideboard cards like Dismember or Collector. Well, Dismember's not a sideboard card, but finding Collector Oath is probably pretty good. Nope, I'm gonna just pass. So birdie? Yep, you have a birdie. So, okay, so we can actually resolve something unchallenged here. So, I'm going to say, you know what, since they don't have Mana Tithe up, let's play the Mistbinder first. We'll put Lords in play, because this will pressure them faster. I'm willing to run, like, the Silvergill into a Mana Tithe. I don't want to run, like, a Lord into it if I can help it. Alright, Stoneforge time. Sword of Fire and Ice the hard way. Alright, I see how it is. Okay, well, I think we're kind of priced into Merfolk Trickster this turn. Alright. It's going to be difficult. If you can find Dismember, that would be okay. Okay. Looks like maybe Path to Exile's coming. Which is not the end of the world either. Or they could have Stoneforge Mystic. That could also be bad. It looks like that might be what's happening, actually. Yeah, that's less than ideal, because they can just... Yeah, the sword is definitely going to hit now. So I guess we really need to draw a land, because I want to play both Lords here. So Batterskull is on its way as well. Oh, that's terrible, actually. Alright. So, the problem is, if I play... I can play one Lord. If they have Path plus this, then that's going to make it hard to keep it out of sword range. I don't think we have another choice, though. I think we just have to run with it. We'll play the Vial. Oh, shit. They just put a Pride or Kasali Ambusher in play. That is also some spice. All right, let's play our Vial. Means we're gonna get hit in the face a fair bit here. We can't really block anything because I can't afford the sword to shock anything, so... Yeah, if I block, say, like Stoneforge with Lord of Atlantis, then the shock from the sword's gonna kill it. Winds of Abandon. Oh, God. Alright. Yeah, that's not great. Now they can shock this thing off. We are in some trouble. Yeah, I think we're probably like gonna lose at this point. So I don't think that we're turning this around. So let's see. I can play Silvergill Adept, Master. The problem is like I can't target this thing. We're gonna have a Batterskull in play. Alright. Well, no line wins other than this. Yeah, I agree. Well, this is not nothing. The problem is if I play the Master of the Pearl Trident right now, it actually doesn't really do anything. I can Spreading Seas this, but Batterskull is still going to be online. Like, we're going to get hit for like 1 billion. I think we still have... I think we have to go after the Ghost Quarter here. And again, I don't see how we're gonna win other than this, so I can't. Okay, so maybe there's hope, but see, Batterskull like could we might be able to throw this Kamena Speaker out in front of it. Depends what he does here. I can't attack because of the Batter Skull in hand. Stoneforge just is going to put it in play and block here. If I can get this Vial on 2 next turn, then there's a shot. I don't know what's going to happen. If they have another land, though, equipping the Batter Skull onto the bird might be enough. Thalia doesn't do very much on this board state. Okay. They're getting greedy with this. They're going to gain 6 life, so that's not irrelevant. Interesting. So I can put the speaker in front of this thing, so that way I don't die. It also protects these creatures from dying. I don't want to trade them at the moment because I think they're... Yeah, I don't know if we're going to win if we do that. Okay, the bird is not really relevant here. So they're at 14. I don't think I can kill them. So what happens? So I have to violent a lord, and I can play a lord. I can play exactly one more 2-mana spell. So let's sacrifice Waterlogged Grove. Okay, that's not irrelevant either. I could cast that. The problem is I can't block with it though. Like, ugh. It's not going to keep me alive. Like, this thing is going to shoot me in the face. Yeah, like, okay, so let's say if I want to dismember it, I have to go to 6 and then pay a bunch of life to make it like a 1-power thing, right? To tap that, and then pay 4 life. So I have to pay 5 life in order to give that -5/-5. That doesn't actually do it. So what does here? We might... I can attack for 8. Attacking for 8 is not enough. What if I draw a Brazen Borrower? Then can I win from there? That might actually work. Then I'd have Petty Theft, and then No, Petty Theft isn't going to do it either, because I have to pay 3 mana for it. Well, I think no matter what happens here, we have to sacrifice this Waterlogged Grove to draw a card. Alright, well, that's going to do it, right? Because now there's like no... I can't block this. Alright. Good game, opponent. Alright, well, Stoneblade got us. Like, yeah, they had a very early Sword of Fire and Ice in both games. So, I don't know, I mean, I think in general we have a pretty good match against Stoneforge Mystic decks, but just not that time. Like, Mana Tithe was actually kind of cool, but, you know, the fact that they just had, like, SoFi so early, and the Batter Skull, like, both games, like, I think we could probably reasonably beat, like, if they only had one equipment, but they had both of them both times, so, you know, it was kind of in their favor. We didn't, like, I think we still had some chances, but we didn't draw what we needed on the turns that we needed, so, like, missing that land, like, was very critical to losing. Alright, on the play for round 3. Cool. Reveal Lurrus. We haven't even needed this yet. I can't keep this. This is better, actually. I think we'll keep this and just put a vial in the bottom. Okay, they didn't reveal a companion of their own. So I'd love to pay 2 life for this. play Aether Vial so that way next turn, no matter what, we can at least put 2 creatures in play. Unless they're gonna force this, like, that could happen, but alright. Otherwise, like, this is not a bad 6-card hand. Forest. Ooh, okay, what are we up against? Okay, so we're up against Titan. So, actually, for 6 cards, this is not the worst. We do have Dismember, which is very good interaction against their deck. So here, I probably, if I draw a land, I'm still going to just play 2 Kamena Speakers. Alright, well, I don't think I have a choice. I have to just do this and hope that, like, next turn isn't too crazy. They can make 3 mana and then make 4 mana, so yeah, this is how this is gonna go. Unfortunately, we're just kind of like falling behind if they have Azusa. Dryad is fine. Actually, we can beat that. They just gave us Island Walk for free, so. This is much better than I had hoped for. Now I can play the Master of the Pearl Trident and start attacking them. And if Dryad ever becomes a problem, I can just dismember it. Again, more Lords is always good. Thank you for your generous donation of Island Walk. So do we have them dead next turn? Let's see, 4, 4, and 3. If we draw a land, I think we do. It's going to be 5, 5, and 4. Yeah, so drawing a land kills them next turn. We just have to not die this turn. So it looks like Primeval Titan's going to come out this turn. So yeah, I guess we just do have to draw lands, right? Let's see what they do here. I think they can give this haste and attack, but they don't have enough lands to go wide here, and I don't really want to kill this with Dismember unless I absolutely have to. Well, it looks like I'm gonna have to, though. The only thing that sucks is, you know what, they could have Field of the Dead off of this thing. So they give it haste, yep. Alright, well, we're gonna have to dismember the Dryad, and hopefully they... Please don't get Field of the Dead. I don't know, there's a lot of ways that this can still go bad for us, so... I think now even drawing a land's not enough. So they do have Field. Oh, but they don't get triggers off of it because they have 2 Valakuts. Okay. So we're still in this game. We just have to top deck mana. I'm not going to block anything here. No, come on, land. Well, this is the only thing we can do, so we have to attack. Oh, why couldn't we have gotten a land? Like, we were so close. This is bad now. They still have like some counterplay now. Like they can definitely get some chump blockers with Field of the Dead. So I'm trying to imagine like Merfolk Trickster maybe. I mean, we can't afford to block the Primeval Titan. So they just have another Prime Time, huh? I mean, if they have another Titan, we can't beat that. Or Scape Shift, I think. Alright, that should be enough to kill us. We had a chance. We played to our out, but our deck just like got stuck on 1 mana, so I mean that's gonna happen. That's super frustrating though, because we definitely could have won that game for sure. Yes. Yeah, this is another match where Lurrus doesn't do very much. Spreading Seas is pretty bad actually. What else is not very good against them? We definitely want Damping Sphere. Chalice on 0 is fine. I think we want to keep the counter spells, right? So if we can deprive the right creature, that's fine. If we can bounce something, that's fine. Maybe Benthic is not as good. You know what? Silvergill is probably kind of weak too. I could cut Force of Negation. At least one. Alright, I'll do it like this. I want to keep all the lords and all the interaction against them, so if I just stick enough interactive pieces and then back it up with pressure, then that should be fine. But this is not a great match. We had like such a good chance. If we just draw an island, your opponent is dead. There's nothing they can do. But it's not meant to be. So I don't know. Alright, come on. Let's do this. I would love to be in the play. Yeah, I guess this is fine. We'll keep it. So they're not going to pact on turn 1. So I don't need to play this Chalice right now. I think I can afford to wait 1 turn with it. I don't need to tell them that I'm doing this. I want to see what kind of hand they have set up here. Secure a Tribe Scout. Okay, that's fine. It's actually kind of slow for them. Here's like this turn, it might be worth playing Chalice. I could play it on 1, but I don't know. 0 is probably better just because of Summoner's Pact. If they happen to have kept a hand dependent on Summoner's Pact, then this helps a little bit. Arboreal Grazer, I'm not very happy to see that card. Makes me kind of wish I had put the Chalice on 1, but I don't know. For all we know, this could still be hurting them, so. This is sort of a slow start, so maybe there's... Okay, so you know what? The Teleria West means that this Chalice actually probably is doing something. Because when they have Teleria West, then that means they can't transmute it for anything particularly relevant. I guess Walking Ballista if they have one of those in their list. But they can't get a pact with this Teleria West, so they have to put it... Alright, so I think Chalice did something here. Because now even if they bounce this back to their hand, they still can't transmute for a pact. So what do we want to draw here? It's fine, actually. If I draw, I'm doing it like this because I think it's going to inform how I do the. Alright, so I guess I could have attacked first. That actually might have made more sense, because then they might have been willing to block, but... I'll just play this Breeding Pool tapped. We'll probably block with Grazer, I imagine. It doesn't really do anything here. I don't think anything really changed. Like, they just kind of knew it was gonna die. Okay, so what land are you? Oh, Vesuva. Forest. Okay, interesting. So we still could have force up. They don't know about that, so I'm not gonna like F6 their turn. It's definitely not a great spot. They have access to 4 mana. They could have access to 6 mana this turn, but it looks like they don't, so... They would just use the scout right there. So it looks like maybe they do have Summoner's Pact, and like... Either that or they're missing a land and they can't put the Titan in play. Because this puts a land into play untapped, so maybe they... Yeah, I don't know. We need something, though, for sure, because this is... Things could start going south here at any given moment. I wonder why they have a stop in my turn. I'm kind of unsure about that. Chances are I'm going to play and crack this Waterlogged Grove. Not bad. Alright, let's crack this Grove. Okay, so I guess if I play the Silvergill, I could draw Force, which might make me not want to play the Mistbinder. I think I do want to play the Silvergill, though. I'm trying to think, like, if I vial the Silvergill in, does that change anything? Actually, probably not. Maybe vialing it in is better, because then if I draw, like, Petty Theft, I might want to hold that up. And if I don't, I can just cast the Mistbinder. Playing another Lord, though, helps keep us out of Valakut range, which is nice. Then they have to start double stacking triggers on at least one creature. What do we find here? Anything relevant? Like Trickster would also be very good if I could find that. Dismember's not irrelevant. I don't think they're going to have enough mana to play Titan plus do anything stupid next turn. So I think here it's safe to just play Mistbinder and attack for a whole bunch and then hold up Dismember for like the turn after. So I think they'll have access to maybe 7 mana. That's not very good. I mean, our board state's pretty good for this, so I mean, things are kind of looking up here. Okay, sure. We put a land into play. Yep, Simic Growth Chamber. I'm assuming you bounce the Vesuva. Okay. Alright, so what do you got? Looks like it's Titan time. Titan's not going to be attacking at the very least. Field of the Dead. Okay. So yeah, Valakut's not a thing because I don't have to worry about the... Yeah, we don't have to worry about triggers. Okay, so yeah, so they have at least, you know, the Field of the Dead is going to be a problem. I think we still have to just attack in with everything though. I guess Trickster would be a very good draw. They can have at least one. Oh, okay. Not irrelevant. Guess still we're going to crack the Grove and see if we can find something else. So I can put Lord in play. So they do have one more blocker right now. If they block with the Titan, I can just dismember it. And that might be enough. If they try to make some greedy blocks, then the Lord can punish them. Yeah, so there we go. They have another field token. Alright, so how would you like to block this? Because you have to block at least 4 things. If you only block 2, you're dead. Oh, this is beautiful. This is like exactly how we wanted to draw this up. Sure. Alright, good luck, opponent. You have no prime time to get more triggers this turn. There we go. There, Dismember plus the Lord, very good pickup that turn, so we managed to sneak out game 2 there. They had a slow draw, so it definitely wasn't irrelevant. Actually, you know what? I'm going to turn this light on because it's starting to get a little bit dark in here right now. Second. It's getting to be about that time in the day. Alright, I don't think we want to make any changes here. I think we just run it back and hope. So we narrowly missed game 1, but we managed to get game 2. Timely Dismember. This looks fine. We'll keep this. Let's just hope. They kept 7 cards, so that's usually not a good sign for us. We have perfectly functional hand. We don't have like any hate pieces though. We have a pretty aggressive start. We get to go Vial into Speaker plus a 2-drop on turn 2. We even have like Trickster as some interaction. Alright, Scout's fine. So Sanctum, Aether Vial. Oh, that's bad. I don't really want to see that. Oh, that's really bad. That is horrifying. We could actually just die right now. I think if they play like Azusa and then just like keep replaying this Simic Growth Chamber, like we are fucked. So did they keep the nuts? Is that what's going on here? Dryad is okay. Well, that's still pretty bad. You have 5 mana. Tolaria, what? Oh, fuck me. Alright. Summoner's Pact. They're not casting it right now, right? No, I think they wait till their next turn to do it. So I guess Chalice would be a good pickup this turn. They have like infinite mana next turn. Like it's just, this is over. Like this was just a super busted start from this deck. Wow. Okay, well, I don't know what we could have kept that was going to defeat this. I would love to pay 2 life. So let's see what's going to happen next turn. Is that they're going to Summoner's Pact. They will have access to Primeval Titan, so the only way that they won't is if I get Chalice off the top right now, stick it on 0, force them to Summoner's Pact for it now. Then they have to put the Simic Growth Chamber into play in the upkeep and use it. Yeah, they have to use it for mana there, but like they could still play the Titan. Like I don't know, I think this is all losing. I just think that Silvergill is the only, like, we're not winning with the stuff in our hand, and I don't think that, I don't know, what if I, like, Merfolk Trickster their Primeval Titan? Maybe that's good enough. Trying to think, like, how else we're going to win here. You know what, that might just have to be how we do this. Because, yeah, they're going to have, like, infinity mana. I can't stop that. Alright, so my plan right now is to just Trickster the Titan, but like we're fucked. There's very, very little chance that we're going to come back from this because they're definitely going to put a Titan into play, and I have no way of stopping it. So they have like what, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 mana this turn plus a land. Yeah, like so 2, 4 from this, and then land drop 6, 8. Yeah, they have access to 10 mana. They didn't go for it. I'm surprised. Maybe they're respecting Deprive. That's interesting. Could be respecting Force of Negation. Okay, well, they're giving us a chance to like find something, so I guess we're not gonna tap out. So they might want to try to get Cavern of Souls to stick the Titan, because they might be afraid of Deprive, so we did side them in, so like we have them. Alright, so passing with mana up actually seemed to buy us a turn, so let's put Silvergill into play. If we can find a land, we can play a 1-drop. Chalice on 0, I guess let's force this issue right now. Sure. They do have Titan in hand, so we have to just pass here. Yeah, so they have to use this to not die to the Pact. But we're still threatening to deprive the Titan, so maybe they're not going to play it. No, they have Cavern of Souls now, so right, so... No, it's on Scout, though. Okay, so they're going to bounce the Cavern back to hand. Why? Why would you not do this? I don't understand. Oh, I don't get it. Wouldn't you want to make this uncounterable? What are you playing around here? I don't get this at all. Okay. You put the Cavern back in hand. Okay, so now they're replaying this. Because they get to play an extra land with that, I forgot. So now they're going to play the Titan. Okay. This makes sense. So now they can play around the Deprive. They waited 1 turn so they could do it. Grazer first? Yeah, this makes sense. Just put as many lands into play as you can, so that way you can... Oh, fuck, it's a Field of the Dead. That's brutal. Yep, it's uncounterable. Which means here they're going to get 2 more lands. Yeah, this is bad. The only thing is we have to Trickster this down right now. That's the only option. We have Island Walk, but it's not really enough here. They have Valakut and another land. Yeah, like, we are toast. Like, there's nothing we can draw that's going to change this. Sure. Alright, we'll play it out just, you know, we'll play it out for education's sake, but this is the point where, like, stone cold dead. Because we can't come back from this. We're losing our entire board. And we buy ourselves 1 turn with the Trickster, but, like, that's meaningless. Because we don't have a way to stop the Titan from killing us next turn. Like, them just playing lands with Field of the Dead is enough to, like, get there. In fact, them just playing lands at all is enough to get there. Yep, and then this one going at our face. No, this one goes at Kamina Speaker. Alright, well, let's pretend that we're gonna try. This is still meaningless. Like, I maybe if we top deck Tricksters every turn for the rest of the game and they draw nothing, I don't know. But it just does not seem like that's going to be what happens. Sure. I don't think that does it. Alright, well, maybe. Alright, I guess. They still have Ghost Quarter. They can Ghost Quarter themselves, right? So that's. I guess. We're still trying. It's just bought us a turn, which is pretty meaningless. Because Valakut can just keep, like, bolting us every time they draw lands. This is all we can hope for. We have to have, like, another Trickster next turn. Because, like, even Petty Theft doesn't do anything. Okay, they drew a Gruul Turf. Like, yeah, this is enough. Like, now, like, there's no hope. Because we could have theoretically built a board state out of this, but they drew, like, a land so they can, like, trigger this, like, 1,000,000 more times. We would have actually drawn a Trickster, so, like, if they just drew, like, I don't know, a Summoner's Pact they couldn't cast, like, we could, like, deploy a Mistbinder and, like, get in and attack and, like, Trickster this down for another turn. Like, we could have, I don't know, maybe, but, so, I guess it was worth playing it out because we actually could have possibly done something if they didn't draw a land. But, like, the chances that the 27 land deck is not going to, like, is it 27? Like, I don't know, it's roughly around there. The chances that they're not going to draw any land are just, like, so remotely, like, abysmal that, you know, and the chance that we were top decking 2 Tricksters in a row, that was also pretty low. You know, it didn't work out, so whatever. I mean, we were very close, I think, kind of in the first game, and, like, almost made a comeback, like, in the third game, but, you know, it is what it is. Amulet Titan is just a terrible, terrible match. We are on the back foot pretty much the whole time, and you have to just have, like, something to slow them down, but, like, their start in Game 3 was, like, so ridiculously busted, so it is what it is. Alright, round 4. We started off so strong, too, but... Alright, well, we're on the draw again. And we're up against Lurrus, so, I don't know, this could be burn. I guess I'm gonna keep this. It's not amazing. Alright. Mishra's Bauble. Okay, so that doesn't actually tell us very much. Verdant Catacomb. Oh, so this is Jund? Is that what I'm getting out of this? Inquisition of Kozilek. Alright, we're fucked. We are absolutely fucked. We have, yeah, this was a pretty weak hand to play against Jund. I don't know, maybe this was a weak hand to play against, like, Burn as well, but I thought maybe Force of Negation might be better against, like, the Burn deck. Nope. The problem is, like, we're not going to outgrind Lurrus. If it ever resolves, we're kind of in trouble, so... I guess Cavern of Souls, name Merfolk. Like, command a speaker and pray. We have lands to discard for days. So if Croxa makes us discard an island, so be it. Tarmogoyf. Oh, that's bad. It's already a 4/5. Ugh. Let's play this at least, like... They don't have, like, Liliana the Veil, so... I guess we're not attacking, and we're not casting Force of Negation, but they don't know that, because they don't know what we drew. Probably discarding this Breeding Pool. Ooh. Oh, you know, maybe this is the Jund Shadow version of this deck. Okay, so what happens here? If they have, like, Lightning Bolt, then we're just going to get blown out here. I think we're probably losing anyway. Alright, I'm gonna pray. Because I just think we're, like, probably losing if they have Bolt regardless. Like, Kumena Speaker on its own is not enough to, like, kill them. Alright. That is enough. I'm not gonna bother, because, like, this is too much. We have nothing left, and they have still Lurrus on their side, so... We're up against Jund Shadow, it looks like. I think. I don't know, maybe it's like a... maybe... I have to assume that's, like, kind of what it is. Maybe they don't have, like, exactly Death Shadow, but it's, like, that version of the deck where it's, like, very low to the ground. Let's see, Brazen Borrower... Relic of Progenitus, and actually Chalice on one's not terrible. I don't think Force of Negation is very good. Also, Aether Vial is not very good either. Do I want Deprive? Spreading Seas seems fine. Maybe I don't want... I don't know, I could actually keep 2 Vials. I don't think Biomancer's not very good. Maybe I want Deprive over that. Just because Deprive counters Lurrus. Alright, well that was rough, yeah. We kept like a pretty poor hand for an attrition match. Yeah, maybe I was supposed to mulligan that. It wasn't like the best hand, so that could be on me, but definitely was not like doing us any favors with like the Goyf and the Bolt and the Swift Spear. This is terrible. Like, we cannot keep that. This is fine, I guess. We have to keep this and put Speaker in the bottom. Since we can't cast it anyway, there's no point in keeping it in our opening hand, so we just want to keep Lords. Okay, sure. They kept 7 cards, which is not pleasant, but... Where the hell were you? I think it's actually too late for that. If I draw like a 3rd land, then I can play Vial plus a 2-drop, but like right now, with just 2 lands, like taking a turn off for Vial does not seem very good. I'm pretty aggressively going after themselves, so Seal of Fire, oof. That's rough, that's gonna kill off Lord. Jesus Christ, they just have like infinity. So they're still like in the all-in version of Lurrus. I guess here I'm just gonna try to slow them down a little bit. I can't play a Lord because of the Seal of Fire at the moment, so I want to try to, you know, slow them down, draw a land so I can get Vial in line. Ugh, that's terrible. Yeah, this is rough. Maybe that keeps them from casting some spells. they don't have a third land. Oh, they do, so Tarmogoofy. Yeah, that's not great. I guess we're playing Aether Vial and passing. Again, I still can't afford to throw this out just yet. They have not put Lurrus into their hand yet, so the Deprive's not relevant. But we're definitely getting beat down pretty quickly. I just don't know, like, I don't have a good way to beat Seal of Fire at the moment. If we could draw like a Trickster, then maybe we could slow this down enough. I need this Aether Vial in 2. Well, I do have to counter that. Because we're going to discard a card anyway. I need to keep the Vial so I can put a Kamena Speaker in play. And then eventually get it up to a point where I can play a Lord and then another Lord on the same turn. So again, if I play this Lord, like, it's just going to die. Maybe I just have to do that, though. I don't know, it could be, like... none of this is great. Like, this is all bad. But we're like getting crushed underneath like their value engine here. I don't have enough cards to like reasonably defeat this. Like, Trickster could really make a difference, I think, but not like this. Yeah. So Lurrus might be going to their hand this turn. Is this Teamer Bat? Alright, we're dead. Alright, well, we just got absolutely nut-stomped by this deck, so that was terrifying. Lurrus has not done anything for us yet since we've started playing it. That's awful. I don't know, maybe we just keep the Brazen Borrowers in the main deck and just say, fuck Lurrus, like, we don't even need it. I don't know, something, because, like, this play... Obviously, the companions are still good, just... They're still, like... I don't know, the end game for that deck is, like, still really strong. Like, we were nowhere even close to running them out of resources, and... The fact that they just have this ever-looming threat of, okay, Lurrus comes in, and then, like, we just seal a fire everything you play for the rest of the game, that is incredibly damaging to our plan. I don't know, like... I think, like, a lot of decks like that, like, probably are just still gonna jam, like, Lurrus anyway. Like, the card is just too good not to play, I think. But I guess our problem is that it's harder for us to, like, make use of it. We haven't really gotten the scenario where we wanted to play it yet. I don't know. We're also not, like, jamming, like, the Mishra's Bogles or anything, like, important on one, like, Seal of Fire that, like, actually makes a huge difference, so... I'm wondering if maybe, like, maybe there's more opportunity to play stuff like Blue-White Merfolk. Or even Bant. Somebody had suggested Bant Merfolk where we could play, like, Unsettled Mariner. Like, that could possibly be worth it. I don't know. That's something maybe we'll have to try. But, I don't know. Modern seems pretty hostile right now. We're on the play this time, so... I would at least like to get some of these play points back, so let's... I don't think we're doing it with this. This is better. We'll keep this. I think because we have all 2-drops here, probably are going to keep the Vial because it's going to let us double spell quicker, so I'm going to put this Silvergill in the bottom. I'm just going to keep all the Lords. Hopefully we're not up against something like Neoform where we need, like, Force of Negation or anything. Alright, let's see what we're up against here. Swamp Forest Island, so... What does that mean? It's just like a regular... Sultai deck. There's no like Urion or anything, so I don't know. This still could be a lot of things, but Swamp Forest Islands probably not great. Means things like Abrupt Decay might be in our future. Fatal Push is an option. This deck could also be like it could be like a Snapcaster deck. Interesting. So this is like maybe, or it could be like a Sultai pile deck. Well, I think we're just jamming creatures and hoping to kill them before we have to find out what their plan is. I expect something like Fatal Push this turn. Oops, green. We might be in a scenario here where we might tick this vial up to 3 for Lurrus. Interesting. I'm not going to put the Lord in just yet. Ice Fang. Okay. So okay, so interesting. So this could just be like Sultai Snow. So I guess what I'm worried about is maybe like Dead of Winter. So they might like cast Dead of Winter right now, and if they do, they get blown out by the Lord. Three other snow permanents. I think here's the opportunity to tick it up. They just conceded. Okay, so interesting. I guess they just realized like probably losing. What were we gonna get? Oh yeah, they were dead. They were definitely dead. So we didn't even need to tick it up. So we don't actually know what their plan is here. But it looks like some kind of control deck, so I'm assuming that Deprive is probably reasonable against them. And since they're an island deck, we probably don't need the Spreading Seas. Is there anything else I'd want to bring in against this deck? I don't know exactly what they're up to here. Chalice on 1 could be okay, but they might be like an Abrupt Decay deck, so like Chalice is not typically great against them. Maybe Relic is okay. It could be an Uro deck, that's definitely possible, so maybe Mystical Sanctuary. I guess Relic is probably slightly better than Seas. I don't know, like, one Spreading Seas could have turned off a lot of their spells, that's true, but we'll do it like this. I don't think that we're in dire need of like Island Walk in this match, so this hand looks fantastic. Can cast everything. We have pretty aggressive start here. Go turn 1 Vial, turn 2 Lord plus Speaker, and turn 3 like even play like 2 Speakers. Arkham's Astrolabe. Okay. So this looks like some kind of Sultai control deck as far as I can tell. Maybe it's a 4-color deck. It could be. So let's play Sanctum first. Because there is a possibility that if I draw like a Breeding Pool, I might just play all 3 Speakers next turn. I mean, this is probably a fine match for us. So this is the same thing, the Sultai land. Okay, you know what? Playing all of the Kamena Speakers actually seems like a pretty good plan, because like this is going to be a very aggressive thing to do, and then we have Lord and Trickster to guarantee that they get through damage next turn. So like it's not like Ice Fang's going to be blocking them. So this is an Uro deck. Okay, that's what I thought. So I guess we have to watch out for like Damnation and also Dead of Winter. Those are like the two that really kind of get us. So I might not even put the Lord in play. I might put the Lurrus in my hand this turn, actually. Alright, let's attack and see what happens. I think I'm going to hold back on the Vial, and we'll wait till the end step in their turn to see what we want to do with it. Interesting. Okay, pass. I'm not in any hurry. This way, if they do, like, you know, sweep the board, I can always, like, just play Lurrus off the Vial. I have another Uro. Interesting. We do have Mystical Sanctuary, so the relics are probably relevant here. And Uro, yeah, because the relics hurt Uro as well. We can find them. Astrolabe. So wait, what is their hand? Like, it just seems like it's a bunch of nonsense. They're gonna play like Nexus of Fate or something. I guess that could happen. Alright. Let's put the Master in play. I'm going to tick Vial up to 3 because that's the only way we're going to play Lurrus here. I don't need to do it right now. Interesting. So we're kind of insulated a little bit against sweepers here. Okay, they have to be in trouble with that. Like, they have to be looking for Dead of Winter at this point. If they don't find it, they're dead. So I don't think anything else does it here. And if they haven't slammed it yet, it means they probably didn't find it. Which means their plan of... Interesting. Okay, so maybe Cryptic Command is possible here. Where did they find Dead of Winter? Maybe. We could have. It's obviously not Cryptic Command because they would have used it. That's interesting. Uh-huh. Sure. So they discarded Aether Gust. That's also... They have to have something else then. If they didn't use the Aether Gust in one of these, then that means they have something. But this still might be enough. What else? Do you have another Collective Brutality? Like, what are you casting here that's going to make a difference? Like, I guess they could have another one of these. And kill off one of these speakers. We have a pretty big attack. I can play Lurrus, play the Master, and then just like go after him that way. Okay. So here, I'm definitely going to play Lurrus. So right now, so if I put the Trickster in play, so it'll be 3, 6, 9, 12. So if I draw another Lord, I win. Might be enough. They have no cards left in hand, so... okay, I guess we're just casting Master of the Pearl Trident and Silvergill Adept. I guess I want to cast Silvergill in case I draw Force of Negation. There we go. See, like, now we're actually protected against, like, Dead of Winter, so it's not even a reasonable top deck for them. So drawing Force off the Silvergill is what's going to protect us from literally anything they draw. I just have to counter, like, one spell here and we win. Like, bringing Uro back is not enough here, so... Yeah, you can bring Uro back. That's not going to do shit. Even if you attempt to go for like Cryptic Command, I can just force it. I'm glad we actually got to cast like Lurrus off the vial at least one time, and it did something relevant. It put an extra 3 power into play to put our opponent at 1 life. So literally, like a stiff breeze kills them right now. Okay, sure. You go up to 4, but you're still very dead. So like, what do you draw? Okay, we win. Neat. So we beat the Sultai pile deck. All right, well let's look at this. So like, we lost against the Stoneblade deck, which they just had like they had the Sword of Fire and Ice and the Batterskull like both games like really early. What else? So we lost against the Amulet Titan deck, which was like very close, I think, in game 1 and sort of close in game 3. Like we very nearly had like we were gonna draw what we needed to at least attempt to come back, but so I don't like that's fine. And then what was the other one that we lost against? Oh, the Jund deck. Okay, well there was no way we were winning that one. That was just like complete blowout. So like 2 kind of matches where like things went really south, and then one where like we lost where it was like actually really kind of close. So maybe it wasn't like a total failure. We did like pretty convincingly beat we beat the Bogles deck like with some tight play in the 2 games, and we beat the Sultai deck. I think that was pretty fine. I don't know, Lurrus did something, so I guess like the only thing is that if Stoneforge Mystic specifically is a thing, then maybe Brazen Borrower is better in the main deck. I wonder if maybe Lurrus is just something that we should like have that as a sideboard plan for some of these decks. Like, could be like Lurrus is a sideboard card, and if we just don't reveal it in game 1 and we put like the borrowers in the main deck, we could side them out so we can use Lurrus in like the matches where we actually care about grinding things out that way. Maybe that's a better approach to what we're doing with this deck. That might be worth testing, because then we can move like the 2 C's to the sideboard, bring these back in the main deck. Maybe even like cut like 2 Benthic Biomancers and put like 2 more borrowers in the main. And then if we're ever going up against, say, like the Sultai deck we just were, like Brazen Borrower is not very like it's fine against that deck. I don't know, but Lurrus is also probably fine. I guess it's a pretty good anti-control card, right? Because we like keeping Vial against those like the control decks. And it is just card advantage. I don't know, like maybe Borrower's just better than this though. Like, it's actually like pretty reasonable to say like 4 Borrowers in the main deck could just be like better than attempting to do this on the sideboard. We did it once, and like I'm trying to think, we probably would have still won that game without Lurrus. Like, would we? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe not. We took a turn off, tick Vial up to 3. Do we have another, like, it could have actually like won us that game. Like it was, but I don't know. Like if we, I'm trying to think because we're not replacing a card in the main deck with Lurrus. This is a free card basically. So you can't just imagine like what if I had Borrower instead of this, because this was an extra card in addition to everything else. So that's, I don't know. Maybe we just have to try this some more and see like how it works out. It is possibly like a reasonable plan to just play Borrowers in the main deck and then sideboard Lurrus. Though, again, like maybe, you know, showing people Lurrus in game 1 does make them miss Mulligan. That's possible. Or the other option is like we could play like a blue-white list, or even like a Bant list if we want some different sideboard cards, and maybe something like Unclaimed or Unsettled Mariner. That's possible. I don't know. I think there's more room to explore this. I don't think that we're totally like done with this card. I think we have more to see out of it, but I don't know. 2-3 is not like a terribly exciting result for this, but Amulet just kind of like was a coin flip and whether we drew that land or not. So, and the other two were just like, I don't know. I probably should have mulliganed against Jund like the first game, but I don't know. In general, like they're still like, if they have those cards, like when the Stoneforge deck naturally has the equipment in hand plus the Stoneforge Mystic, that gets hard. If they only have the Stoneforge Mystic, we can usually beat one equipment without much trouble, but it's just when they have like two of them, because then they can equip the Batterskull to whatever is also holding the other sword, and then things get out of hand. But otherwise, like, I think it's reasonably beatable. But Borrower would help more against those decks, so if that becomes a common thing, then like we definitely lean on the plan of maybe main decking more Borrowers. I mean, it's also not necessary to have like all of these Force of Negations in the main deck either. Like, it's, I don't know, if we see like continually like more Lurrus-y decks, like we could also put like a we could put like bring Deprive into the main deck and just like put one Force and maybe cut like one other card to like, you know, make some room for this reasonable option. So Deprive would be a little bit better against like the Lurrus decks because it can actually counter Lurrus. And against a lot of decks, we really don't like 2-for-1ing ourselves off of Force. Like in a fair matchup, Force of Negation is just terrible. It's like why we boarded out against Jund. Like, you don't want to 2-for-1 yourself against the, like, okay, so let's say your opponent plays like, you know, like a Fatal Push or something. You don't want to force that. Like, that's terrible. You only really want to force like really, really important spells. And just like when the game goes as like an attrition game, like Force is just terrible. But Deprive is a little bit better. Like it's a little bit more clunky to play, but it's not costing you 2 cards in order to play it. So, you know, depriving, say, like a Liliana the Veil would be much better than having to Force of Negate it. There are some scenarios though where, like, you know, if you can force the right spell and deploy enough aggro in the first like 2 or 3 turns, then this is slightly better. But in general, the longer the game goes, like the worse this card is versus Deprive. Because yeah, when you're on like the late game, you really want to not. This is going to just cost 3 mana, where this costs like 2 in the late game. Like bouncing the lands in the late game is totally irrelevant. Yeah, and this can also counter like important creature threats. Like this counters Stoneforge Mystic, which is not an irrelevant thing at all. Like it's one of the reasons like Force of Negation, just you cannot like replace it in Legacy with like Force of Will. Like you need Force of Will in order to counter like important creatures. So, you know, if your opponent like ever does cast something like, you know, Stoneforge in Legacy, that's something you need to force. Or like Knight of the Reliquary in Legacy, you need to force that. You don't get the option to do that in Modern because of Force. So countering creatures is definitely like an important thing. Or even just like being able to counter Lurrus, like I said, because that is a card that can just take over the game by itself. So there's another reason I like having the Dismembers in the main deck. Being able to interact with the creatures kind of makes up for the weakness of this missing the creatures. So these two together kind of do the job of Force of Will, sort of, but even still, like, not always. Imagine like being able to Force of Will Uro like when they just empty their entire graveyard. At least that is actually way, you know, that's a hole that like Dismember's not going to cover because it's like a 6/6. If you Force of Will it, like They can't just recast it, but we don't have the option to do that right now. If you have Deprive, like, depriving it would actually be pretty good if they try to escape it, so... I don't know, I think there's some play to maybe putting some Deprives in the main deck. I don't know, I wasn't really, like, sold on the Benthic Biomancers. This slot could probably be better used for other stuff, so... 19 lands seemed like this was perfectly fine for this deck. I didn't really miss Mutavault at all, so... Probably keeping this as the same is fine. And like I said, if we move some of these cards into the main deck, then maybe that opens up some more slots for other hate cards. We didn't really get to use Grafdigger's Cage at all, but we also didn't really run into Dredge, so that's kind of like, you know, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. If you don't have the Cage, like, that's when you play against Dredge like every single round. And then if you do play Cage in the sideboard, well, then you never like see it, so who knows. But I think Dredge is coming back a little bit now that, like, Lurrus has subsided a bit, because now people are a little bit less worried about it, so Dredge has some more room to work its way back into the metagame. So I like having at least 4 pieces of Graveyard Hate in my sideboard at all times, if possible. So, yeah, you have to do something. We can't have, like, Ashiok here if we're going to do this plan, so I think this is a pretty good split. Just because, and, like, I don't want to go, like, 4 Cages or 4 Relics or anything. I think Cage, like, hits a few other things that are a little bit more important. Like, this is better against Dredge than Relic is by a lot, but Relic is also good against, like, the Uro decks, for instance, or even, like, the Jund decks, because keeping their graveyard free incidentally is fine, and then you can cash it in for a real card at any point that you need. So this split has always worked well for me in the past, so I anticipate keeping this here. I don't know, maybe if we can find another sideboard slot, another Chalice would be reasonable. Just because, like, it does hurt, like, a lot of decks that are kind of dangerous to us, like Bogles and Prowess and Infect, so Chalice is always a reasonable card to have in the sideboard at any given point. If you don't own Chalices, go buy them right now. They're not, the last time I had checked here, like, they weren't super expensive compared to, like, how much they have costed at different points, so you should have Chalices, like, in your toolbox, like, at pretty much any time. So if there's a point at which, you know, you look at Chalice and you're like, I don't own these and I can afford these, you probably should get them. The times where we need them, we are going to, like, really, really want them. So there's a lot of times where you look like, oh, well, I don't see Chalice being played much at all. Then you're like, oh, I don't need to spend money on it. No, like, this is a card you probably should own and just never, ever, ever get rid of. This is very unique, and it's like there's, like, never going to be another better version of this card. It's very hard for me to imagine that. So yeah, if you don't own them, like I said, make it a priority to, like, own Chalice of the Void at some point. And it'll also help you get you on your way to Legacy. If you ever want to, like, play Legacy Fish, like, Chalice is a huge part of that deck, so that can put you pretty far ahead towards that. But yeah, I think this is fine. Like, keeping at least 2 or 3 in the sideboard is always a reasonable plan, so I don't anticipate removing these. And in general, like, these are all, like, we've seen these cards in their board, like, a lot, so they're always there for a reason, because they tend to, like, do really relevant things for us. But I don't know, I think we need to test this a little bit more. Like, this wasn't the most exciting result for today, but it is what it is. And at the very least, like, at least it only took, like, 2 hours to get through a league this time. It wasn't like one of those, like, 3 to 4 hour grind fests. Yeah, those are exhausting for sure. So I don't know. We'll play more Modern in the coming weeks, I'm sure. I am going to play Historic. I know I keep saying this. It's gonna happen. It's just I want to wait for them to actually fix Arena before we do it. So they're gonna do it tomorrow. So probably Monday. Everything should be fixed by then. So, like, the video that comes out then should have Historic gameplay. We were gonna play more Historic. I promise. We'll fix it. We're gonna get there. We'll change the list to account for all the Winota decks, and I might actually try streaming some stuff on Twitch tomorrow. I think the Diablo 2 ladder is gonna reset, so it's a very good opportunity if you like. If you've ever played, like, Diablo 2, like, you know, it's really fun around the time the ladder resets because nobody has anything. The whole game is just, like, reset for it's like a new standard season, basically, where, like, everybody starts from nothing and have to build your way up. So I might, like, see about I'm probably going to be playing it either way, but if I can get it set up to work on Twitch, then yeah, I'll post about it. I'll post a link on Twitter if I can get that working, because I love playing the Necromancer Summoner. Like, that's my thing for Diablo, so I don't really have much going on tomorrow, so that's kind of my afternoon plan once they fix the ladder and get it reset. So yeah, come join me if I can make that work. I'd be happy to, interact with you guys in the chat. It'd be fun. You know what, maybe, if you play Diablo 2, like, maybe we can even, like, run the game together. That'd be fun, too. I'd be totally down for that, so. Alright, I will see you guys later. Take it easy. See you tomorrow if we can do that, but otherwise I'll see you on Monday.